So I guess riding a motorbike through the mountains of northern Vietnam wasn't stressful enough. I decided to go for the ultimate stress test and drive a motorbike through a Vietnamese street market. Actually, this is less stressful than riding through the northern mountains of Vietnam, trust me. So this is the city of Hoi An. This is sort of like the closed city. If Changshu is the closed city of China, I think Hoi An is the closed city of Vietnam. There are hundreds of tailor shops in this city where you can get a custom suit made or a custom, dress or skirt. Um, it's all done for pretty cheap. This city really is a shopper's paradise. I wish I would have had more luggage space and more time in this city. I would have had a custom suit made and maybe sent some items back home. Not only clothes, but there's a lot of leather goods and ceramic goods. This is a pretty ancient commercial town. Even with my limited luggage space, I couldn't help but buy 5 shirts. You can get a look at the canal that runs through the city. Hundreds of years ago, this was a base for not only Chinese but also Japanese merchants and traders. And this bridge was actually built by the Japanese to help unite the Japanese and Chinese communities here in Hoi An. This bridge is about 500 years old, so this goes back well before the troubled times of World War II and the First Sino War in the early 1900s. So it was a nice gesture to help bring the two communities together many hundreds of years ago, something that we could probably use a lot more of today as well. I believe this is also the only Buddhist temple that is in a bridge. I think there's a shrine in here somewhere, maybe right there on the right. Here's an example of the many stores you will see in Hoi An. You can go in, pick out the color and material that you want, and they will custom make a suit or dress for you. Custom fit it, be custom measured. I think it might take a day or two. I didn't have that kind of time, so I couldn't get one made. I would love to have had a suit made, but I just didn't have the time or the luggage space, really. I wish I had this guy's confidence. He is totally owning this fresh, new look. As we take a ride through the streets here, just want to mention that I really noticed a lot of Chinese influence in this city in particular. In Da Nang, I noticed a lot as well, but once I got to Hoi An, I could see that, yeah, there was a long history of a Chinese population being in this city. And you'll see it soon with all the different buildings that are still here. As a matter of fact, if I woke up and had amnesia and was walking through these streets and didn't hear anybody speaking Vietnamese, I would think I was in China. And if you're a Westerner watching this on YouTube, and you happen to visit this city or any city in Asia really, and you go to buy something, never accept the first price in a place like this where there's a lot of small shops and markets. Always tell them something like, "Oh, I'll come back later," and you will find they will immediately drop the price by almost half. I think most of my friends in China already realize this, so I don't think I need to tell them. But for my viewers watching on YouTube, just keep that in mind. I was so happy to see that YOLO culture is alive and well somewhere in this world. And now I'm going to take a walk through the various Chinese buildings and temples and shrines that are scattered all throughout Hoi An. And, you'll really begin to understand how much of an influence or, how much of a Chinese presence was here in ancient times. I had a comment in the other video I made talking about the architecture looked like it was Fujian. Well, actually, there was a huge Fujian population here in Hoi An, and one of these buildings, I forget which building it is, but one of the buildings is even called the Fujian Assembly Hall. There are a ton of tourists from all over the world in Vietnam. I don't think I've ever seen so much variety in the tourists as I have in Vietnam. I saw a lot of German, French, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Americans. I saw a lot of different tourists all throughout Vietnam. And it was cool to hear different cultures speaking to each other in English. It made me feel proud as an English teacher. Here you're going to see some very cool paper sculptures. They're flat books, but when you open them up, they're a 3D paper sculpture. One of my students bought me one of these, so thank you, Stephanie, if you're watching. I still have it in my home. I believe this was the Fujian Assembly Hall. I'm not sure. But something cool happened here. It's been weird traveling around Vietnam and people are speaking Vietnamese and I can't understand anything anybody's saying. But as I was walking around, I think it was this temple, a Chinese tour group came through and I could hear what the guy was saying. I understood him perfectly and I thought, oh my God, that's so cool to know a foreign language like that and to understand what somebody was saying. So, even though it wasn't English, it was Chinese, and I understood it. It immediately made me feel very comfortable. That, oh, thankfully, I can finally understand what somebody is saying. What was he saying? He was saying, "Hey, look here. It's Jiang Zemin." When Jiang Zemin visited here, they took a picture and put him on the wall. And after the tour group left, I walked over to the picture to see what he was talking about. And I saw him. Can you see him? Can you see Jiang Zemin? How about now? Can you see him now? I'll make it easy for you. There's a little arrow pointing at him there. That's Jiang Zemin.